What's a story that you've told a lot since you've returned, like your most exciting or most interesting moment while you were over there? What would you say that would be?
Well, the most memorable one and the most one that concerned me most when I was shot down.
Right.
Our airplane was shot down.
Where about?
Our target that night was Merseysburg, just this side of Leipzig.
Okay.
And we had dropped our bombs on our way home. We got zipped. I think it was a Messerschmitt, and they came along underneath us and shot at us.
Sorry, from the ground.
No, in the airplane.
Okay, in the airplane. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Flew under you.
Right.
And the plane started on fire, started to explode and things like that. So in the Lancaster, there's 7 people, and the pilot, the bomb aimer, the engineer, and the navigator are supposed to go out the front. There's a trapdoor at the front.
Okay.
The wireless operator and the 2 gunners are supposed to go out at the back because there's a place to jump out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as soon as we got hit, the pilot, he could see the plane was in trouble, and he told us to jump out. And the 2 guys, the engineer and the bomb aimer, were at the front, and they couldn't get the hatch open for some reason or other. It got stuck. So I was standing behind them, and I knew I wouldn't get out there. And I didn't know there was any use going in the back because the plane was I could smell the cordite burning out of the explosions. So I went and stood behind the pilot, and you notice by the Lancaster, I don't know if you can see it, there it is up there, but it has a lot of perspex around.
Yeah.
And the navigator is behind the pilot, and I was standing there, and all of a sudden one of the windows blew out. And I pulled myself up and jumped out. Now luckily I missed the engine, the propeller, and I also missed the tailplane. And the next thing I knew I was floating down. And I cut my eye going down here, but it kind of healed now. But I didn't know how bad it was cut, but I was bleeding quite a bit.
Really? In those moments, like, do you feel like you kind of just worked on instinct?
Yeah, it was. But looking back, I can see I should have been terrified, but I wasn't that terrified. Okay. I knew what I was doing. Okay. And see the thing in the air crew, everybody but the pilot has a seat pack. The pilot, his parachute, he sits on it. The other guys have a chest pack. They wear a harness, comes up under the legs, and then there's 2 hooks there, and the parachute hooks on that. Mm-hmm. So as soon as we got hit, the pilot said, "You ready to jump out?" I put my parachute on me, and I knew that I got that done. Then the next thing I was concerned about, unfortunately, or I don't know, I just did everything automatic. I didn't even think about it. I knew that I wouldn't get down below where the other 2 guys were. Mm-hmm. And then when the window broke, I said, well, I better jump out here, and I did. And then you're supposed to wait 10 seconds before you pull the ripcord, but I didn't. I pulled it right away, and I could see the plane way down below, crashing, was on fire. And I was at about 20,000 feet.
Wow.
So I just floated down. I landed in a tree.
What happened next?
It was January 45,
right.
And there was a lot of snow on the ground, and I really couldn't visualize, what level I was at. When I first got in the parachute, my first impression was that I was going up, but then gradually I could see I was going down quite heavily, and it was wintertime, and there was snow on the ground, and I couldn't see too much, but I knew there was trees, and I landed in a great big group of trees, and I was up quite a bit. I was up about 40 feet, but I didn't realize that at the time. And in this harness we wear, Kim, and had a thing here where you had to hit it to make it loose. Mm-hmm. I started that, and I took another look, and I thought I was up pretty high, falling, so I pulled myself over to the trunk of the tree and undid my harness and dropped down. And then it was in quite deep snow, and I could hear quite a lot of activity on account of the plane crashing there. And this lieutenant, lieutenant in the German army, he was there. He took me into a farmer's house, and the farmer put me to bed. And then the next day, the Burgermeister came and took me to the jail, I think, I know, he took me to a Luftwaffe airport. Okay. Where it was a training place, and as a matter of fact, that farmhouse that guy took me to, in Germany, in this part of Germany anyway, the farmhouses are different. Like in Canada, the farmhouses spread out, you know, over the countryside. In Germany, I guess for protection, they're all together in one little place. So this guy took me to this farmer, and the cattle were right by the kitchen door, and you know, you could smell them and everything. But it just happened that this farmer had spent 9 years in Detroit.
In the U.S.
In the U.S., and I guess he worked for one of the auto companies, and he could speak very good English. A very friendly guy too.
It's very lucky.
Yeah, oh, it was, yeah. But he was so scared of the establishment of the Gestapo, and I tried to give him my watch and give him some money, but he wouldn't take it. He says, if I ever get caught with that, he said, they wouldn't even ask me a question, they just shoot me immediately. So he was scared, skinny, but he was very nice to me.
Yeah.
Very, very friendly guy. The funny thing about it was a training place, station just like we had in England, and all these young students were coming looking through the window at me, see what I was like, I guess. In Germany, they called us Terrorfliegers. That was our, because they thought we were terrifying. I wasn't out to terrify them, but just out to drop bombs. But they German people were quite upset over us dropping bombs on them. So if they lost some members of the family, they wouldn't be too happy to see one of us guys around.
Yeah.